Everything is inspired by the teachings of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who is the founder and chair of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Om Agana Jimanandasya Gadangana Salakyam Chaksurim Miritam Yana Tashmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manavabhistam Stapitam Yana Bhutare Sayam Rupa Karamayam Tarati Swaparantikam. Call our talk today, the wind factor. We all go through seasons in life. Everything seems to be going okay, and then an unexpected challenge comes, like a wind. Nobody ever saw the wind coming. We're diagnosed with an illness. Our child is in trouble. The pandemic hits. Our business slows down. A monkey wrench in the machine, so to speak. When these things occur, we wonder, why did this happen? But Krishna, God, He doesn't stop all difficulties in life. Just because you're chanting His holy names, going to the church, tithing, whatever, doesn't mean He's going to stop the difficulties. He will allow challenges in order to move us into our purpose. And if we pass the test, on the other side of those challenges, on the other side of that difficulty, is a whole new level of our destiny. I heard a parable about a farmer. He sowed seed in his land. Some of the seeds fell in good ground, some fell in hard ground. In rocky soil, the seeds didn't go down very deeply. They just sprouted slightly, and then they wilted when those hot winds came blowing through. So similarly, you can't become the men and women of faith that you are created to be without some hot winds testing you out. And how you respond in those times of difficulty to those unexpected challenges is going to determine whether you come out bitter or whether you come out better. There are times you feel overwhelmed. You're doing the right thing, but things are not turning around, not improving. You're praying, but it seems like God went on vacation. You lost that loved one. You're so down and depressed. You don't see how you can carry on. Well, these aren't random challenges. This isn't just bad luck. It's a hot wind blowing. God is seeing what you're made of, how deep your roots go down. Are you going to live sour, discouraged? Are you going to dig down deep and say, I may not understand it, but Krishna, I trust you. I know you're bigger than whatever comes against me. Your plans for me are ultimately for good. So, Lord, I trust that you'll get me to where I'm supposed to be. In the Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, Krishna tells Arjuna, Matrash parshasti kanteya sitoshni sukha dukkadega am tamakapino tam stitikshasya bharata. Krishna explains a very essential truth to Arjuna. There are seasons when it becomes excessively hot. There are seasons when it's excessively cold. But to have excessive heat or excessive cold is not an excuse not to do your duty. India is a good example, for instance. Sometimes it gets to be 120. Ladies are cooking over an open fire, and generally they have to wear a sari. India is not a place where if it's hot in the kitchen, you can just start stripping down. No, you're wearing this multi-folded sari in a kitchen with little ventilation over an open fire, and it's 120 degrees out. You can't say, well, I'm not going to cook today. How do you respond to the situation? You can't change it. You can't make the sun get cold. You just have to go ahead and tolerate it. That's the response. Or in the winter times, it's customary to take a bath. It's very important for a civilized person to take a bath. But they don't have heated rivers in India. So you take a bath in the pre-dawn hours before the sun comes up in a frigid, cold river. No one says, oh, the river's too cold, I'll skip my bath this morning. The response to the cold river is the same response that you had to the scorching heat. It's tolerance. There's no sense in crying, oh Lord, this heat is too hot, or this cold is too cold. This is nature's law. There's absolutely nothing we can do about it. Of course, in the Western countries, we have a little buffer. We have central AC. We have central heating. In most countries of the world, we're up face to face with the basic forces of material nature. That doesn't give anybody an excuse to opt out of cooking in a hot kitchen or taking a cold bath in the morning. One's duty has to be done irregardless. There may be some suffering, but it's temporary and it will build your character. Similarly, on the battlefield, Arjuna is a battle. He's facing the forces of darkness, the forces of repression, the forces of tyranny. They happen to be his cousins and his teachers. He has a natural reticence to lift his hand against those whom up to this point in his life he's essentially been worshiping. It's a very tough thing. It's a very inconvenient thing for Arjuna to fight against those with whom he have a bodily relationship. But Krishna never tells Arjuna, "You're right. This is too much. Go home." Don't do anything in response to the difficulty, to the inconvenience. Krishna doesn't say to Arjuna, "Oh, right, now that you've pointed it out, I'm also noticing these are your friends. So just sit down or go take a nap or something. Don't do anything because it's too inconvenient. It's too hard." You'll never find any words to that effect in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, criminals are criminals. Just like now, Biden's son is facing up to 17 years in prison. They ask Biden, "Are you going to pardon him?" He says, "No." He says, "No." That's the duty of the executive head, is not to use favoritism. If his son is guilty of a crime, he will not use his influence to get a pardon for that crime. If the son of his enemy is innocent of a crime of which he's falsely accused, the president or the executive head will not use his influence to incarcerate that son of their enemy unfairly. This is called duty. This is called building character. This is called Krishna consciousness. We have to do our duty no matter what the inconvenience. But for the results, we depend on Krishna. Name phalashu kadachana. Don't be sorry. Don't be all down and depressed if there's failure. And if there's success, don't be all manic and jubilant. Everything is accomplished by Krishna. Failure is engineered by Krishna to build your character. Success is to bless the fruits of your work with something which is going to benefit other people. That's what Krishna consciousness means. Never to give up one's duty because of inconvenience, but to give up the results of the duty. To do your duty and be detached from the fruits of that. This requires a quality which in Sanskrit is called drita, determination. You're not going to be moved by what's not fair. You're not going to get bitter over who did you wrong. You're not going to live discouraged because of a bad break, a delay, an unexpected challenge. You may in your own life be in a hot wind right now, dealing with an issue in your family. Something at the office, that coworker is leaving you out, getting on your nerves. This goes on month after month after month after month. Now, if your roots don't go down deep, if you live shallow, if you live dependent on circumstances, let those circumstances frustrate you, you have to get even with those coworkers, you have to pay them back, then you're going to get stuck right where you are. Our message today is that difficulty is not there to defeat you, it's there to promote you. You just have to pass the test, keep doing the right thing, keep being good to people with the determination that Krishna, God, is going to fight the battles of those who keep him first place. What this is called is having your roots go down deep, believing that Krishna will not only turn that situation around, but if you stay in faith, he'll bring you out of it twice as well off as you were before. So those who are God-centered, don't let the hot winds of life, the unexpected reversals, the unfair situation, cause them to fall apart. Yeah, it may be taking longer than you thought. You were determined at first, you were enthusiastic, you were strong, but the race has gone a long time, a lot further, and a lot longer than you thought. And now, frankly, you're getting a little tired. Some doubts are starting to come in. Maybe you're entertaining the thought that I might have gotten it wrong. This might not ever work out. I might not ever get well. We might not be able to start that temple in that city. I may never see my family restored. Well, our message today is don't let those lies discourage you. It's a test. It's not permanent. God has already determined the fulfillment of your God-conscious dream. All you have to do at this point is get your second win. God did not bring you this far to leave you. What he started, he's famous and consistently noted for finishing everything that he started. But we have to do our part. That's dig down deep, pass the test. Keep thanking Krishna or God that it's on the way. Keep declaring what he promised. Keep believing even when you don't see any sign of it. Stay in this attitude of faith and you'll be successful. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Well, true, I really don't understand why this happened. I was being my best. Why did I have to have that bad break? Why did I come down with this illness? Why did I get in that automobile accident? Why did those people leave me? It's life. It is what it is. Being a person of faith doesn't exempt you from difficulty. The tests come to us all. One devotee said, put on the armor of God. So in the evil day, you'll be able to stand. He did not say, in case you have a bad day, or maybe in the by and by you have some trouble. He said, put armor on, so in the evil day. He was saying, there are going to be some hot winds. You're going to have things in life that can knock the zest out of you, threaten your joy, and tempt you to give up on your dreams. Now, if you're going to pass the test, your roots have to go down deep. You can't be weak, supercilious, complain, Krishna, why did this happen? You have to have a made-up mind. I know Krishna or God is still on the throne. I know him being for me is more than the whole world being against me. I'm not moved by what's not improving. I'm not moved by what I don't understand. I know that what was meant for my harm, the all-powerful Lord is going to turn that around to my advantage. And when you've done everything that you know to do, just do one more thing. Just stand. You don't have to figure it out. You don't have to make things happen. You don't have to worry. Just stand in the face of opposition. Stand when every voice says it's not going to work out. Stand when the medical report is not changing. Stand when your finances aren't improving. Stand when your child is not making good decisions. To stand means you're not moved by what's not changing. You're not complaining because it's taking too long. You're not bitter because you had a setback, not frustrated because your plans didn't work out. You are steadfast, immovable, unshakable. Your roots are down deep. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You have a report of victory when you could be complaining. You talk about health when the medical report doesn't look good. You talk about abundance when your business is down. You talk about overcoming when you feel like you're being overcome. That's all what it means to stand. Stand believing. Stand trusting. Stand hoping. Stand expecting. If you'll stand immovable, unshakable, then you will be unstoppable. Those hot winds will not keep you from your destiny. Rather, they will launch you into your destiny. Krishna, God, is not just looking for people that have great talents and great abilities, but he's looking for people who will simply stand. Stand in the middle of troubles, not bitter, not discouraged. Standing with an attitude of faith. Standing when the problem's not turning around. Standing when it's taken longer than you thought. Standing when your heart is breaking. Standing when the bottom just fell out. Krishna never said that you won't have a bad day, or for that matter, a bad week, or even a bad year. But he did promise if you'll just, what? Stand, he'll bring you out. If you'll stand, he'll defeat your enemies. If you'll stand, he'll give you beauty for ashes. If you'll stand, joy is coming. If you'll stand, the enemies that you see today, you'll see them no more. You just have to do one thing. Don't let those hot winds cause you to wilt, thinking that God is not for you. He forgot about you. Oh, I must have done something wrong. No. The hot wind is coming because you did something right. That's why the enemy's trying to stop you. She thought you would fall apart, get bitter, blame God, throw in the towel. But what she didn't realize is that you, the God-centered devotee, know how to stand. You're not moved by the hot winds. You're not worried about the medical report. You're not frustrated over how long it's been. You're steadfast. Immovable. Can I tell you the enemy, Maya, cannot defeat a stander. She cannot defeat you when you stand in praise. When you thank God, even when it's not working out. When you stand in excellence. Keep being your best in the middle of the trouble. You stand in faith. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You could be negative. You could easily be sour. Everybody else is under those circumstances, but you are not like everybody else. You believe that even in the hot winds, Krishna is working. That even with the hot winds, Krishna has a purpose, and you expect things to change. You still have your hopes up, knowing that it could turn around at any moment. Krishna is not asking you to have great talent or great ability. He's not asking you to figure out a solution. He's just asking you to stand. Stand unmoved by what you're up against. Stand with your eyes upward and outward to Krishna, God, who created the universe, knowing that he has the final say, working behind the scenes, and what he promised will come to pass. So our question today is, are there some hot, unexpected winds in your life today? Are you today facing difficulties that seem too big? You never dreamed you'd be up against this level of sickness. You never thought your marriage would be in trouble. You never imagined that the company after 20 years would lay you off, that they don't need you anymore. Well, Krishna is saying to you tonight, stand. God is still in control. Whatever happened is not a surprise to him. He had the solution before the problem came up. He's already lined up the right people, the next job, the healing, the promotion, the breakthroughs. They're already on their way to you. Here's what I've learned. I know that God is on my side, not by the hot winds that he stopped, but by the hot winds that didn't stop me. You can't judge Krishna's favor or lack of it by the number of troubles, by the number of hot winds he kept you out of. You judge Krishna's favor, his blessings, his omnipotence by the number of hot winds that he brought you through. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One devotee prayed, I know that Krishna, God, is on my side, because in those hot winds, I kept standing. I kept standing, doing the right thing, and Krishna, God, defeated my enemies for me. Scripture says, you will go through the fire, but not be burned. You'll go through the waters, not drowned. You'll go through the famine, and you'll not get hungry. Don't get discouraged about what God's bringing you through. He would not have allowed that difficulty in the first place if he didn't have you a way of getting through it and, in fact, coming out on the other side twice as well off as you were before. This is what it means to stand, to have a made-up mind, to stay in faith whether it works out your way or not, to trust God, of course, when the door opens, but also to trust him when the door slams in your face, to give him praise whether he turns it around in 5 days or 5 years. Your roots go down deep. You're not moved by people trying to talk you out of it. Well, I don't think you'll ever get well from the way you describe it. My grandmother died of the same thing. When you know how to stand, you let that go in one ear and out the other. You're not moved by opposition, bad breaks, by people that are not for you. The God-conscious person has this attitude. I know that Krishna or God is going to turn it around. But even if he doesn't, I'm not going to live sour. I'm not going to give up on life. I'm not going to quit believing. When you have these deep roots, the hot winds of testing don't affect you. You're stable, consistent, unmoved. You know no weapon formed against you is going to prosper. You know that all things work together for your good. And true, sometimes Krishna will keep you out of the fire. But most often, what he'll do is make you fireproof and send you into the fire. And you may be in a fire right now. You may be feeling those hot winds at the present moment. Can I encourage you to remind yourself that heat can't harm you. You're fireproof. That trouble can't take you out. Those people cannot stop what Krishna ordained. It's a test. So are you going to stand despite the opposition? Are you going to stay in faith despite that things don't seem to be working out? Are you going to keep believing even though you've had setbacks? When you can say, like all the heroes of faith, even if Krishna or God doesn't do it my way, I'm still not going to give up. I'm still not going to live defeated. I'm still not going to give up on my dreams. When your roots go down deep, Krishna will make things happen that you couldn't make happen on your own. Defeating giants that are much bigger, accomplishing dreams that seemed impossible. There are times in life when we get thrown into the furnace, so to speak. We're praying, please, Krishna, keep us out. Keep me from the trouble. Keep me from the sickness. But here's the thought. Krishna controls the thermostat. We're praying, please keep me out. Please keep me from trouble. But with Krishna's hand on the thermostat, he'll maybe let the winds get hot. Hotter than you thought you could take. But he knows that you can take a lot more than you realize. He knows exactly how much you can handle. So he's only going to turn up as much heat as you can take. It feels like too much, but that's because you're stronger than you can take more than you think. That's because your destiny is greater than you think. He's getting you prepared for things much bigger than you could have ever thought about or imagined, for favor, influence, opportunity that you've never seen. Now, don't wilt in the trouble. Dig down deep. It's not too much for you. You can handle it with God's help. You've been armed with strength for this battle. You're full of can-do power. The forces that are for you are much, much, much greater than those that are trying to stop you. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. On a morning walk, Prabhupada said these words: faith means that you are meant for giving some service to Krishna. You should stick to that service, that path, in spite of all impediments. This is the passing of the test. There may be severe tests, but we shall remain determined. That is wanted. There may be so many impediments, challenges. Those are tests. Not that as soon as there's some difficulty, I give it up. There may be a severe test, but we will not give it up. We must go on. That is the definition of determination. Now, none of us like the hot winds. It would be much easier if everything fell into place. We never had any opposition. But without those hot winds, without those times of testing, when you have to steel yourself against the urge to quit, you have to stretch your faith and believe that God is in control. Without all of that, we would never become the people of faith that God created us to be. I read about these scientists who created a miniature version of our planet called Biosphere 2 project. Big dome that cost $150 million. They made it to study how the Earth functions and to learn more about how we can make improvements. In this biosphere, there are 3,800 species of plants and animals, including a rainforest, a savanna, and a desert. And they discovered in this biosphere that trees grew much faster inside than the trees grew outside. They were amazed at how rapidly they grew. But before the trees had reached their full height, they just fell over. What was going on there? They couldn't hold themselves up against their weight. And when they got high enough and top heavy, they just dropped over horizontal. The scientists realized that in this biosphere, they had not replicated the natural environment, which includes what? Hot winds. It was always calm and peaceful. There were never any storms. Because those trees had never withstood any wind, their roots had never developed properly. And they had a deficiency, which was called technically stress wood. Stress wood helps the tree grow stronger and more solidly. Without it, the trees can grow fast, but they don't survive. The wind, in other words, is essential for the tree to flourish and become what it was created to be. Now, in the same way, in our own lives, without these hot winds, without these difficulties, our life would be easier, but you knew that but was coming, didn't you? But we wouldn't develop properly. We wouldn't be able to carry the weight of what Krishna has in store for us. Don't complain about the hot winds. You need them. They're strengthening you. Yes, they may be uncomfortable. Yes, we don't like it. But yes, also they're causing your roots to grow down deeper. They're developing in you fortitude, strength, courage, determination. Those winds are not there to break you. They're there to make you. They're helping you become who you're created to be. When you have the right perspective, you don't get discouraged when you face challenges. Krishna could have left you in a little biosphere, Hare Krishna, no difficulties, tiptoeing through the tulips, no opposition. You could grow fast, but you wouldn't have the strength for where he wants you to go. Those hot winds are preparing you for more blessings, more favorable, along with which always comes more responsibility. And every day you stand, your roots are getting stronger. Every day you praise when you could complain, you're developing stress wood. When you keep doing the right thing when the wrong thing is happening, your core is getting strengthened to carry the weight of the blessing, the weight of the influence, the weight of the anointing. When airplanes take off, do they take off with the wind or they take off against the wind? Against the wind. The airplane needs the resistance of the wind to get liftoff. So are you complaining about the winds being against you when in fact Krishna wants to use those winds to give you lift? That challenge looks like it's going to stop you, but really it's there to promote you. And don't get discouraged then, because you're in the hot winds of change, of testing. Just get excited about imminent liftoff, because you're about to see things that you've never seen, about to go to places that you've never gone before. Just keep standing. Keep doing the right thing no matter what comes against you. They're there to promote you, not to finish you off. Maybe, just maybe, you've been doing the right thing again and again and again. Maybe you've been doing all these good things for years and years and years, and still people aren't changing at work. Still the medical report is not improving. Still your business is not getting any better. What do you do then? What do you turn to? Deep roots. You have to have had deep roots. Krishna, I'm not moved by what's not changing. I'm not discouraged by what's not happening. I'm not going to wilt no matter how long it's going to take. I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to give up on my dreams. What am I going to do, Krishna? I'm going to keep standing. I'm going to keep doing the right thing. And when you pass the test like that, instead of those winds stopping you, they are going to lift you up. Instead of defeating you, they are going to promote you. And when you're in a dark moment, you just have to remind yourself that difficulty is not the end. It's leading you to a rejuvenation, a new beginning, to something that you've never seen before. Now is not the time to give up in that dark moment. Now is not the time to quit believing. Now is not the time to stop, retreat, and pull back. Even you feel like Krishna, God has forgotten about you. Here's the key. Sometimes during the test, the teacher is silent. During the test, you might not hear anything. The teacher might have gone out of the room. You don't see anything improving. But you have to know that even in the dark moments, Krishna, God, still has you in the palm of his hand. If anybody, he knows how difficult it is for you. He knows that you feel in over your head. He knows that you don't think you can go on one more minute. But he's saying to you today, don't worry. Be at rest. Help is on the way. Weeping endures for the night, but joy comes bursting in the morning. Just keep standing one day at a time. Don't worry about tomorrow. God didn't give you grace for tomorrow. He gave you grace for today. Stand for today, and when you wake up tomorrow, you'll have the grace you need for tomorrow. A devotee once said, the suffering of this present time doesn't compare to the glory that's coming. Now, if you could see into the future, if you could see based on your chanting, your faithfulness, your trust, your love for God, what he has coming to you in the future, if you could see the promotion, the favor, the influence, trust me, you would not complain about the hot winds, the dark moments. You would endure just a little bit longer. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In the meantime, do the only thing that you can do. Keep standing, keep honoring God, keep being good to people, because things are about to change in the favor of those who've kept God first place. Light is about to come bursting in. It's going to happen suddenly, just as that challenge, that hot wind, you didn't see it coming. It was unexpected. Krishna is going to shower favors, blessings on you unexpectedly. If you've passed the test, kept God first place in your life, I believe you are coming into your life-giving rainy season. The darkness is about to lift. The hot winds are going to subside. Those monsoon clouds full of refreshing, life-giving rain are on the horizon. When it arrives, blessings are going to pour down. Healing, favor, promotion, peace, joy, the fullness of your destiny in this life and next life. You go back to home, back to Godhead. Well, thank you all for your kind attention. If you'd be so kind as to raise your hands along with me. We can all say together, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.